23 at 11:30. Clerk, do we have a quorum?
You do.
Okay, a quorum is present. First order of business, motion to approve minutes of prior committee meetings. Supervisor Runyon, Supervisor Frazier, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Privilege of the floor and public comment. Is there any public comment? Anybody wishing to speak? Hearing none, seeing none, we will move on to the action items. Request for transfer of funds attached for committee approval. Sorry about that. Any comments on these?
No. Good.
Okay, motion brings to the floor. Supervisor Thomas, Supervisor Runyon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number two, requests and items to be discussed by the county administrator. John, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
No problem.
Item 2A is the journal report of transfers. If anyone has any questions about that.
It was, no.
Okay,
Anybody?
No.
nothing really. Is there anything we wanted to highlight in that?
Just that, the largest transfers for the health department, that's for their schools grant, and that money has to be spent by the end of July.
End of July.
Okay,
School grant money.
yeah,
Everything else is pretty straightforward.
okay.
Items 2B and C probably should be considered together. This is movement of money into vehicle reserve, from vehicle reserve to various departments. And some of it has come from grant money. So this is to purchase additional vehicles or maintenance vehicle equipment.
B, C, and D.
B, C, and D.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Runyon on the second. Discussion. Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries for 2, B, C, and D.
Okay, item 2E is a transfer of occupancy tax money be transferred into 910 for capital projects.
Good. Bring to the floor. Supervisor Thomas, Supervisor Runyon on the second. Discussion. And this is coming out of yours and not OCTAX because. Go ahead.
In 2022, the Act Tax Committee approved this expenditure of the $25,000 to go towards this project. It's just we have to move it into, because there's different bank accounts, we have to move it into our transfer account in order to record that for planning department.
Clear. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that concludes my items. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Number 3, requests and items to be discussed by the county treasurer, Mike Swan. We have Rob Lynch here in attendance, and it's a request for chargeback of taxes for various parcels. Motion to bring it to the floor. Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Runyon on the second. Discussion. Yes, Mr.
Where
Chair.
it says state land denial, what's that mean?
So, Rob, you want to answer some of these questions?
I don't know if I can answer specific questions on it, but
Like Chester has state land
And we have a lot of state land, but I don't see anything in our town that's denied, so I'm curious what the denial is too.
You know what this might be? It's looks like the breakdown says
Oh, you know
EMS.
what? Is
So
it-
it's
they don't want to pay the special taxes, it's the EMS district tax. That's what it is. It's a special district.
Oh, yeah, it does say that up there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm. You get to the state.
I don't think they're exempt.
Hmm.
Yeah. Considering it's all vacant land, et cetera. I guess so. They have that right?
They do?
I don't know. Do you know, Rob?
Yeah, it's all state-owned land,
But, and
so it's, I would assume it's vacant.
they make the rules of what they can pay and not. So,
There you go.
You know why we don't have a district?
Yeah.
That's why we don't.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm surprised Warrensburg doesn't show up here on that.
Yeah, we don't have any state land. I don't know. I'm just looking at it, but it looks, I don't know what it means where it says reason is state land denial.
Yeah.
Means they deny paying the taxes on the land? Is that what it means?
Right.
There's an exemption that was denied, I'm not sure, but.
I'm going to ask the accountant here on these with the debit and credits at the,
Not a lot of money, but
right. Interesting, isn't it? Even did Chestertown Fire 70 cents, 7 cents. We'll get down to the nuts and bolts of it.
Well, yeah, they set their own rules anyways.
Looks like it's only like certain property map numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
No. You know, when I was looking up these tax map numbers. I don't see them showing up on our tax map, 903. And there's an 802, I think, on the next page. That. Well, he needed to. Chester, yeah, 302.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
309.
And 309. Okay. We have a motion on the floor to have these chargeback taxes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 3 carries. Number 4, referral from County Facilities Committee chaired by Supervisor Bruno. Buildings and Grounds, request to establish capital project, regional mower facility in the amount of 136 with source of funding to be determined by the Finance Committee. Motion bring to the floor. Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Thomas on the second. We are County Administrator. This is, I don't see Chairman Bruno here, or we do have DPW here. This is
the amount, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the amount for, I'll turn to Kevin, but this is the amount for the study for the feasibility study for the regional morgue, correct?
That is correct. Yep. That was, we received 2 proposals, one from LaBella, one from Clark Patterson. And as I brought up in county facilities, CPL, Clark Patterson had more experience with a morgue or regional morgues. So we chose to go with them. Their original cost on their proposal was $170,000. We negotiated it down to 136, and it was approved under county facilities to come to finance, and we would determine where the funding would come from. I do not have that money in my budget. I do not.
somewhere,
No,
that's not even a quarter mile of paving.
that's different funding. One's an A code, one's a D code.
Right. Okay. The fund balance seems to be the only place we have left to go, and it is capital project. That's what we're looking at,
Unless you want to spend the rest of contingent.
which we have $87,925 left in contingent. So,
Gotta use it up.
yeah.
It's only May.
Not to, since we have a short schedule, saw this Far Side cartoon. A big ship is sinking in the background. Dogs are in the lifeboat with cases of dog food, and they go, all those in favor of eating it all now, say aye. Contingent fund, all those in favor? So. What's the
Not a,
pleasure of the committee here?
not a nothing.
We'd have to combine
Right, 'cause it's
some
not
fund
enough.
balance.
Fund balance, I would say.
Yeah, fund balance for the capital. Okay,
That sounds good.
all right. So we'll do that motion using fund balance. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Hey, Kevin, the deconstruction of this, of the jails, that was not part of any capital project then, is that correct? The rehab,
I believe, you recall, I believe that was a capital project for the jail.
The equipment and demolition.
Yeah, for the demolition, and yes, it was under a capital project. Yep. But I mean, we just chose to do a new capital project because we're not necessarily saying with this feasibility study that the jail is
okay,
going to be the facility we use. As I reported in committee, we're going to look at a standalone facility somewhere as well as the jail
okay,
as part of that study.
thank you.
Yep.
Number 5, referrals from criminal justice, public safety, chaired by Supervisor Gerasi. Assigned council, request to amend the budget in the amount of $603,488.62. Reallocate unspent grant funding from 2022 to 23. Motion bring it to the floor. Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Runyon, any discussion on this? Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And then from the sheriff's office, request to authorize the treasurer to close capital project for communication radio upgrades and return estimated funds in the amount of $1,998.22 to the general fund unappropriated surplus. Supervisor Thomas, Supervisor Runyon, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. 5C, request to amend the Warren County budget for 2023 in the amount of $4,689.17 to carry over grant funding from 22 to 23. Supervisor Runyon, Supervisor Thomas, discussion. Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 6, referrals from Health Services Committee chaired by Supervisor Frazier. This is from mental health. Request to amend the county budget in the amount of $190,432 to allow a pass-through of 100% state aid funding from New York State Office of Mental Health for providers of school-based mental health services. Bring it to the floor, Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Runyon. Any discussion on this item? This is just all a pass-through for the funding. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor of number 6, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 7, referral from Legislative Rules and Government Ops, chaired by Supervisor Stroud. This is from Information Tech. Request to appropriate funds in the amount of $50,000 from Budget Code 895 Computer Reserve Fund, the various departments for the purchases of computers and related software. Supervisor Runyon, Supervisor Thomas, any discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. 8, referrals from OCTAX Committee chaired by Supervisor Dickinson. We have here a request to appropriate funds in the amount of $477,100 from the reserve occupancy tax to other payment contributions to cover 25% due to the towns, villages of Lake George and city of Glens Falls. Supervisor Thomas, Supervisor Runyon. On second, discussion. This is fairly big distribution, isn't it? Kind of a record one, I think. Yeah. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor of 8A, say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. 8B is a request to appropriate funds in the amount of $116,000 from the reserve occupancy tax to various budget codes to cover the cost of occupancy tax funding awarded to 3 applicants. Motion to bring it to floor. Supervisor Thomas, Supervisor Frazier on the second. Any discussion on those requests? I'll call the question. All those in favor of 8B, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9, Finance Committee actions required on the first personnel agenda items. And this is a referral from Public Works to the request to amend the table of Oregon salary schedule to increase the salary of solid waste recycling compliance coordinator from $50,633 to $62,422 effective May 22, 2023. Bring to the floor. Supervisor Runyon, Supervisor Thomas on second. Discussion. No, it always makes me wonder how when somebody leaves a position. And then all of a sudden you say, well, let's raise that up 10, 13,000. That's
I missed that meeting, but was the reason behind it is the person who had the job didn't think he was getting enough money, so he got done?
Yep.
And so then when you pick the next person, then you decide the only way you're gonna get him was to pay him more money. Yes?
I'll turn it over to the administrator on that.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is, basically the person in the position, it's a critical position, the person left, for a higher salary, significantly higher than this. And we looked at it and now I believe Tammy can confirm this money is available in the budget, 62,422.
Well, there will be savings. So the position's been budgeted at the salary that was set for 2023. So because there'll be a vacancy during a period of time,
all right.
I mean, they, towards the end of the year, they may have to come back and act, depending upon how long it'll take them to fill the position. And they may have to come back at the increased salary, but we wouldn't know that really until we get further down in the year, but because there'll be a vacancy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is a recommended salary, starting salary for this position.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, pending items. Joint meeting of the Personnel and Admin Higher Education Finance to be scheduled.
Thank you,
Supervisor, County Administrator Taplin, you want to update us on that one?
So tomorrow, and I just sent out to all the supervisors the proposal that we'll discuss tomorrow about how we would increase our funding for SUNY Adirondack. The proposal is based on a recommended share from the stand-up of community colleges back when that happened of 33% local share, 33% tuition from students, and 33% state funding. State funding tuition's pretty much at the 33% level. We're at about the 26% level for local share. Local share consists of the money that we contribute to SUNY, the money that Washington County contributes because we share that's our share, and then chargebacks go into local share as well. So chargebacks are significant for SUNY. Those are for students who attend SUNY Adirondack from surrounding counties. So this proposal takes it to 33% in 5 years. There were a number of proposals we've discussed. We've been talking about this for about 3 years. That had different funding models for how we can do this increase. You may recall they asked for $5 million at one time additional. They asked for 15% of our share. We're at about 11.49% right now. And this is another way of looking at it. And Washington County increases at the same rate that we would be increasing. So the total after 5 years would be about an additional $1 million for us and about additional $684,000 for Washington County. So we're not picking up additional responsibility. It's all based on full-time equivalent attendance at SUNY. And that fluctuates from year to year, but not substantially. So I've sent the proposal out. Tomorrow, SUNY would like to make a presentation, talk about their budget a little bit, some of their budget challenges, and why they've requested this, why they think it makes sense, and then we'll have a discussion. Hopefully get to, if we agree, a resolution we can take before the board on May 19th. And Washington County has the same intention. And it'll be our personnel and our higher ed committee and our finance committee and their higher ed committee and their finance committee from Washington County. And we're encouraging all supervisors who are interested to attend. It's at SUNY at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Will everybody here be able to make it?
Mhm.
Okay,
I won't be able to.
you won't?
No. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's, and with this, thank you for sending this out because it can encourage then attendance. So. And give us the background on it. So tomorrow there will be action required or asked of us to pass motion or not.
Tomorrow at that meeting.
Yes,
So for the finance committee, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
yes,
that's what we'll do tomorrow. If this is supported, the Personnel Higher Ed Committee would make a motion to refer it to the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee would make a motion to bring it to the floor, keeping in mind, it does not impact the budget this year. So we're talking about next year's budget when we'd see the first payment to SUNY. So it's not that it affects the budget this year, but it should come from finance. Amanda's not. I always like it when Amanda nods when I'm speaking. I like it when Tammy nods too. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
better than standing out there all alone, isn't it?
And I also like it when the county attorney nods.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for that update there. One other thing, I did send out late last night an email regarding EMS. And since we have a budget, the chairman of EMS committee here, I was expecting to have Supervisor Drossi, who is Criminal Justice Public Safety, who covers the Office of Emergency Services that would be involved, be able to get this moving forward this year and discussion. It's going to take money. And right now, as you've seen from discussions on the state budget, we are going to be hit with some big expenses coming up, and even the SUNY Adirondack one so at some point it's going to come through our committee to say money for this effort or not. Some of the preliminaries that have been sent through from Office of Emergency Services, looking at some, I call them fly cars, and as well as support staff, is about $1 million to begin with. So the big question comes, where does that money come from? We have been fortunate with some good revenue intake, but we are also very mindful of our fund balance, and we're protective of it as well. So just wanted to bring that up for the discussion at this committee right now, not looking to make any motion, pass any resolution. It's just that of getting the ball rolling from this. I would imagine at some point, Supervisor Runyon, you'll be able to call the EMS committee meeting, and we'll sit down, we'll start talking about a way forward on this. But when we are looking at that, let's say if we're in May now, it may affect budget somewhere mid-year in 2024, I would imagine, if we were to pick up and improve any particular program, and then be full effect in 2025. So, yes, Chairman.
What is the plan?
There isn't one right now. The plan that is on the books is the one that has always been there, of the county taking on the HR for the squads.
County
So
taking on the what?
the human resources. So
They're gonna hire, the county's gonna hire?
they would be employees of the county. So
So that means the county would generate revenue.
correct.
Has anybody, I mean, that's one of the things I never hear anybody say, oh, I hear about cost, but what about revenue?
Right. There is the revenue recovery that comes in. And
Right now, the reason why they're in problems is because the revenue doesn't cover the cost to operate each individual squad. They don't get enough money from the revenues
Right,
to operate.
totally. Yeah, but it does offset by about 50% or so.
How much?
About 50% in some of these squads is what they get. Right, more or less. Yeah. Do you know, Gene, for your district down there on the revenue recoveries of what that covers?
It's slipping every year, even when you put in for Medicare, Medicaid.
Yeah.
You put in $1,000, they might send you 600.
Yeah.
Those are the downfalls we're having.
Yeah.
But the town tries to keep the revenue up to keep it supported.
But I might have sent out to some, I don't know if it was to all supervisors, that another county just adopted countywide EMS. I'll have to look back and see what county that was. But every year, more counties are picking this up because we know the situation, don't we? Yeah, so it's just a matter of when. We are in a fortunate situation that our calls are getting covered by our squads. But all of our squads are facing the same dilemma on there as far as staffing. And at what point, what they'd be looking for next, because the hourly wage is up there into the 20s for EMS and EMTs and others, that it's going to be benefits next.
Is it just gonna cover the cost of if they're gonna be, this will be a pool of employees that Warren County will have to supplement how the emergency squads are running, or will it be an all encompassing that you'll lease the equipment from the squads and then provide the squads with the employees to run the equipment? Is that how it's gonna work?
We haven't gotten that far yet, Mr. Chairman. Mike Gerasi, Supervisor Gerasi, and I met several times with the EMS coordinators at their bi-monthly meetings. And they want to have input on how this all goes. And of course, they're the ones doing the job right now. So I would imagine that it is with their input, because it's going to have to be with their cooperation of what the final design for the county is.
I mean, we shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, if it's out there and people are doing it now, why don't we look at one of the models that's already being done and say, this fits us? I mean, we could keep chewing this up, but I mean, if it's already out there,
Right.
if people are already doing it, why don't we look at it and say, does that fit our county? Why do we have to continue to go round and round in circles?
I think there's plenty of ideas out there. Every county is a little bit unique. And now I think we're in a better position now with Warrensburg, North Warren, Johnsburg, Lake George, Lake Luzerne, all having EMS districts,
Right.
making a transition for the funding of a countywide program is one step closer, one step easier than before, when there was not that distinct mechanism for funding. So it also fits onto state law, that what is the enabling legislation that this fits into?
It's what now?
Enabling legislation.
Did it get passed?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. No.
But I mean, you know, if counties are doing it, why are we looking at one of those models?
We are.
We are.
Yeah, we're, you know what, this has been, several years. You were chairman of that
Yeah.
committee for
I
several
had a plan,
years.
but nobody wanted to listen to it.
So I guess we need to come
And
up
we
with,
couldn't do it. because
we need to
couldn't-
come up with a plan that people will listen to then. And it takes the cooperation of all of the EMS agencies that are out there. Yeah. So.
just hope we don't spend a lot of time discussing.
Can I just ask a question? Kevin, wasn't it a few years back that we had a lot of discussion with Essex County? Weren't they doing something? I remember having a meeting in the big room, somebody who came up from Albany or Schenectady to make
Albany.
about a presentation.
The problem was, and
Yes,
the problem was at the time, you cannot have a countywide EMS system. It's not allowed by state law.
Oh, okay.
And so what they were doing was not a countywide system. I thought they were doing a countywide system. When I talked, we had a meeting in Warrensburg with AATV, and the chairman of Essex County said, you can't do it. What we wanted to do, you can't do, because the state hadn't allowed us to do that. Now, we found that if we could join forces as communities, if communities had district, they could form a
Right.
district, right? Several could join in. But we couldn't do what we wanted to do in Warren County. And I still don't think we could do it because it was never passed. I know that they had a assemblyman from up in Franklin or one of those counties, you know, he tried to put forth, it's never been passed on a county wide level. Everybody's concerned about it, but the state prohibited us from forming a countywide district. That's the way, that was my understanding, unless it's changed. So we formed our own districts, you know, at a considerable expense to the local taxpayers. And I'm just wondering what's changed, or, you know, do we have a model now that works?
that's what we'll need to look into. So Supervisor Runyon, at your pleasure and convenience, to, if you could convene that EMS, then we can start things as well as when we start developing what that model is. Okay. Good. Any other thing come before the board at this time? Privilege of the floor. Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just, I just wanted to give a quick rundown. And I'll provide more information next week. There are a couple sessions on Monday talking about the governor's budget, but the governor's budget, unfortunately, there did not support the many things that we kind of pushed back on. So the two things that are out there, one, of course, is the Medicaid funding, the federal, the EFMAP. While the governor did not withhold 100% this year, it will be will pay an additional 1/3% next year. We'll pay an additional 2/3 the following year, and the third year we will pay the entire amount. Right now, today it would have been an additional $1.5 million. So we don't know what the actual numbers are going to be yet for next year, but there will be an impact to the budget when you add that.